Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about future of green transport in Seoul, South Korea. The ongoing climate crisis has created a surge of innovation and investment in ICT technologies. Amsterdam, being one of the greenest cities in Europe, has the ambitious goal to be the future green mobility-free transport capital of Europe. This heavy investment has been noted by other countries, especially in Asia. As a response to this popular trend, many Asian countries adopted similar ideas to their own cities and most noticeably in their city transport infrastructure. Korea, in particular, has invested heavily concentrating on the research development of smart city infrastructure, and due to their expertise in battery technology, the electric vehicle development is at the center stage of the innovation projects. Cities all over the globe are aspiring to be so-called smart cities. We notice distinctive patterns in the development of ICTs being used as integral part of innovation process. In the research, you note that the new innovative technologies such as big data, the cloud, embedded sensors, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things are important parts of the smart city development process. The smart city embodies a pragmatic approach to urban development governance. However, cities are not just testbeds for innovative technologies. There is a need to incorporate old and new concepts together while also considering socioeconomic and cultural development aspects of the society, while improving the quality of life of the residents who live there. An example of free development of smart could be Amsterdam, which is rarely limited by the cultural aspects of the society, whereas in Singapore and South Korea, the development and thinking process of the society is sometimes slowed down by the cultural norms within the society. In Amsterdam, the individual or community-led projects are noted by the regional government, and they might get invested and incorporated into larger nationwide initiative, which central government will invest in and deems the most suitable for the current development plans. Research done by U 2021 notes that the corporate neo-led liberal urban entrepreneurship, citizen or community-led projects have failed to take account all the aspects of smart concept within the political economy in Singapore and Seoul. In these two cities, urban development is distinctly different that of Western cities, as is their approach to smart urbanism. This can be seen in early 2000s when the South Korean government put together smart city infrastructure before the smart city trend was fully launched around the world. A research review conducted by Lim 2022 noted that the smart city development in Korea consists of three phases. The phase one of the smart city development was to develop individual ICTs and incorporate them into existing infrastructure. The phase two included the connecting of phase one ICTs, which were scattered into one, and creating the smart city centers, which provided citizen-oriented urban services. And these intended to improve the life quality of citizens living within the city. However, the smart city phase two encountered funding problems which influenced the development of these projects. The lack of funds, however, stopped some projects, but the phase 3, which was meant to enhance the system put together by phase 2 and phase 1, was implemented despite the lack of funding. Finally, Lim 2022 mentions that different planning cultures can have various governance aspects. This would be noticeable again in the research, development and implementation of ICTs in different countries. How governance model influence the development of smart cities and which governance model is useful in making smart cities under what circumstances. One of the most important things about smart city development is the development of greener transport, which enhances the mobility. Within the smart city, Korea, being the leading manufacturer of battery technology, offers the unique opportunity for development of the EVs and their incorporation into society, as well as support infrastructure needed for EVs and other methods of green transport. In addition to implementing EVs, the Seoul metropolitan government is trying to implement HFCEV and build better cycling network. In the research by Kim 2025 noted that a survey conducted by the 2009 concluded that if the bicycling infrastructure would be improved, then 87% of the citizens would use bicycle instead of motorized transport. Despite of investment of 61.1 billion, the government did not see any improvement. Therefore, in 2021, within Seoul, only 2.58% of trips were made with the bicycle, indicating that there were lack of properly constructed bicycle infrastructure within Seoul. Kim 2025 noted that in 2024, Seoul Mayor Lee Mae-yong-bak reformed the public transportation services in response to increased incidents regarding air quality, high traffic congestion, and traffic incidents. This led to introduction of ICT technologies which were accessible to everyone with a smartphone. These smartphone applications could tell the location of the bus, leading to increased punctuality and reliability of public transport, which increased the use of these dramatically. However, in turn, this affected planned infrastructure upgrades for the bicycling network, which suffered already from the lack of proper cycling infrastructure policy planning. As a result, the existing old bicycling network was not connected to workplaces, but remained as disconnected network of pathways which are not connected efficiently enough to increase amount of cyclists in Seoul. Sustainable transport. The President Moon Jae-in's administration set the plans and policies for reform, which was the Korean New Green Deal. One of these policies, as Jane 2021 notes, was transitioning into hydrogen economy and use the HFECVs as a new power source for electronic vehicles, therefore improving South Korean energy security and supporting the infrastructure needed to operate such vehicles. Healthcare risks for individuals with CEED. Use of EV is not without the risks for the consumers who are dependent on electronic medical implants. Little is known how the charge of electric vehicles and the EMI affects the driver or passenger who wear medical implants such as cardiac implantable electronic devices. Program 2019 and RODA 2021 note that individuals with such devices can safely ride or drive EVs. However, because of the gaps in the current research, they should be careful and exercise caution while doing so. Convincing government and individuals. South Korean government should increase funds allocated to research and development of EVs and HFCEVs and invest into infrastructure required to support them. HFCEV is facing lack of interest because of its unknown concept due to lack of knowledge amongst the general public. This can be changed by advertising comparison between the advantages and disadvantages of HFCEV and EV, and comparing both of them against the petroleum fuel cars. Reduction of motorized traffic congestion is also a significant issue in Seoul metropolitan area, which could be solved by construction of connected bicycling network as well as development of more pedestrian-friendly infrastructure to encourage people to choose walking instead of motorized transport. To increase the attractiveness of both EVs and HFC EVs, the institutions developing these vehicles need to address several issues to make these vehicles more attractive to consumers, such as increased passenger comfort and increased driving range of both vehicles and long battery charging times. As society shifts more towards greener forms of transport, the government should encourage the public buy these vehicles instead of petroleum-fueled cars by introducing some sort of subsidy payment policy which would make buying of such vehicles more attractive. Stangeron 2021 argues that South Korea has put forward a comprehensive plan to create the initial infrastructure required for research and development, which is dependent on the political environment as South Korea has single-term presidency system. Therefore, new administration could reverse previous administration's decisions regarding the policies for the support of the hydrogen economy. Additionally, Shinar 2003 argues that the electric and hydrogen economy also requires additional infrastructure increase for the existing infrastructure distribution capabilities. We have experience from electricity distribution, but we do not have experience from the distribution of hydrogen due to lack of infrastructure, and we do not know what challenges this might involve. I prefer to use the public transport more than I prefer to use private car if possible. However, if I would buy a car in the future, I would buy either EV or HFC EV. However, based on the arguments earlier mentioned by Shinar 2003, buying an EV and HFC EV would depend on where I live in the future, as the infrastructure regarding such technology is different in each country. Thank you for your time, and here are my references.